What's going on, YouTube? This is Blue Boat back. Know it's been a while and everything, a lot of stuff was going on. Like I said, I'm a very busy man, and a lot of stuff I've been observing back and forth. A lot of stuff that I've touched on. But the main thing that I've touched on, as you all know, that the untimely passing of Earl DMX Simmons, one of the predominant artists in hip hop that made an impact instantly when he dropped. He succumbed to an overdose on Friday, April 8th of 2021. When I first heard DMX, it was probably he was part of Children of the Corn with Cameron and Mace, even though he wasn't an official member. He collaborated with them. Then where I really heard him was on Time to Build. Back then he was a very unknown artist. Just somebody on the underground circuit, involved with Irv Gotti and his staple. Wasn't quite known as Murder Inc. yet, but he was there. Had a collaboration with Mike Geronimo, DMX, Jay-Z, and maybe, what was it? No, it could have been Ja Rule on that. It was called Time to Build. It was on the Mike Geronimo album, Master IC. That was back in 1996, late 95, late 95 that came out. That's, he was virtually unknown back then, but you could tell he was starting to get his feet wet in the door. Then 1997, his verses on LL Cool J's 4321 with Method Man, Redman, Cannabis, and Master P. He definitely started to get a buzz. You could tell who is that guy with this raspy voice. The guy with very strong delivery with a raspy voice. I thought he was, he could have been mistaken for another influence from Busta Rhymes. You can make an argument that he kind of, the earlier DMX, before he actually officially dropped, he got some of his influence from his flow, his style from Busta Rhymes, definitely. Especially on 4321. 4321, that's that's one posse cut that basically was one of the best posse cuts of the decade. You think about it, what came of it, the artists that actually came out of it, that it led to more collaborations with people like Cameron, Cannabis, Noriega, all that stuff, which led up to his debut album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Dark and Hell is Hot, released on May 19th, 1998, automatically shot up to #1 on the Billboard charts. You had songs like Yeah, Be Dog, I Was Going Down, Stop Being Greedy, Damien, Niggas Have Started Something. He had a profound impact right away. And his whole Rough Rider, he formed the Rough Rider. This is when the Rough Riders became one of the preeminent hip hop supergroups around. When he first dropped, literally people know that he was probably going to have one of the biggest impacts and greatest runs in hip hop from 1998 on up. Probably the second hip hop artist to release 2 albums in 1 year. The first one was 8 years earlier with Ice Cube, America's Most Wanted, and Killer Will. But DMX had another album come out later on, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, which was just as big, if not bigger, than It's Dark and Hell is Hot, DMX, you know, then point on, started to do collaborations with, acting. He was in the hit film Belly that dropped the same year as his two albums did. He became a star overnight, Belly was one of the most sought after films of that decade, A lot of, sayings in hip hop came out of that film, of course, you had Nas in there co-starring along with Method Man and, along with others, that was big. That was big. That was definitely big. So, as the year went on, he went on the Hard Knock Life tour. He was one of the main headlines on the Hard Knock Life tour, along with Meth, Redman, Jay-Z back then. But to me, I think he made the Hard Knock Life tour what it was, Yeah, Jay-Z, you could say Jay-Z had a, impact on that. But what sold Hard Knock Life tour to me was DMX. People wanted to see the guy. People wanted to hear the guy. Hear this guy. This guy that's changing the court, that changed the scene in hip hop because you got to think. 1997, the year was like a turning point in hip hop almost. You had a lot of albums that maintained that hardcore boom bap sound, but because of Bad Boy and because of the climate in hip hop with the recent deaths and everything and all of all the every artist out there, the consumers back then saw commercial rap as a safe haven because, like I said before, you had the untimely deaths of Notorious Big and everything and all that, and everything else in far in between. There was like a violent climate within hip hop, and like I said, the recent deaths of Tupac and Notorious Big, and their feud, which ultimately led to their untimely deaths, and the consumers and the powers that be tried to make Sean P. Diddy Combs the face of the culture, the face of the industry. And by like 1997, commercial hip hop was like basically became the forefront. The streets, the street sound of hip hop was starting to kind of phase out a little bit. But 1998, you could say it was a comeback year for street hip hop from the street, because not only you had DMX, you had Big Pun, you had Gangstar coming out, you had Noriega, you had Cameron, among other things. Then you had Cannabis. But for me, DMX basically you could say relaunched hip hop from the streets, because he became the face of a comeback, might as well sorts, Years went down the line, and his personal life, he had a few run-ins with the law and everything, a few run-ins with, and most importantly, he had a struggle with drug addiction, tell you this much right now, a drug addiction is just as bad as depression, they're both one and the same, probably bad, his personal demons, as far as his drug addiction, always came back to haunt him and everything. And once you're an addict, it's very hard to shake that. You might be clean 1 year, come for a couple years, but the addiction is very hard to shake. The addiction is very hard to shake, man. And I rooted for him. I rooted for him, because he had a passion for what he did. DMX had a very strong passion for what he did, and recently I came across a story, man, where the guy that got him into the rap game, into hip hop, right? Basically stabbed him in the back and basically betrayed him, man. Like laced his blunt with a hair rod, and like the man that he trusted, the man he thought he had his back, basically was a snake in the grass, man. Stabbed him in the back. That just lets you know right there, man, that the people that are closest to you can be the biggest detriment. It can be the biggest snakes in the world, man. Like they can stab you in the back. People that are close to you are the first ones to stab you in the back, and you don't even see it coming, man. And like I felt bad for him when I heard that story, man. Like I just, but end of the day, man, DMX had a profound impact on hip hop, on the industry itself, and he'll be greatly missed. But tell me what everybody thinks. I'm out.